Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you something you can whip together for Thanksgiving breakfast, or any morning really. That's pretty easy to make and can be done in less than 15 to 20 minutes. Pumpkin French toast with roasted butternut squash. Trust me on the last part, really. And I also have an idea for a simple Thanksgiving centerpiece, courtesy of Rose Forever. But first, let's get to the recipe. Now, I will admit that this is one of my eyeball recipes, which means my measurements usually amount to, oh, that looks good. But I'll guesstimate for you here. I also made this as 1.5 servings since my husband was curious and wanted to try some, so please keep that in mind. So what you're going to need are 2 to 4 pieces of thick cut bread. I use brioche here, but I've used day-old soda bread before, and actually I prefer it. Challah would also work pretty well. You also need 1 to 2 eggs. 1 egg would work for about 4 pieces of French toast. Milk of your choosing. I used almond milk, canned pumpkin, and do not use pumpkin pie filling for this. Dark brown sugar. You could also mix in light brown if you wanted to. Pure vanilla extract. Cubed butternut squash. Some stores sell it already chopped for you, but you could also break down a small butternut squash on your own like I did here. You also need pumpkin pie spice, cinnamon, and salt. Again, amounts will vary depending on your preference. I really like cinnamon. You might not, so use your best judgment. You also need pure maple syrup. I use this for more than just drizzling on French toast, so feel free to splurge here. And granola. I used an ancient grains blend. I would also recommend roasted pecans, but I didn't have any at this time. So, in a bowl, you're going to want to place your butternut squash and season it with cinnamon. I use a generous teaspoon here. I would also recommend a dash of salt to bring out the sweetness. Otherwise, it could taste a bit flat. I didn't here, and that was my mistake. Drizzle with a bit of maple syrup and toss to fully coat. You can roast the squash in the oven, but I prefer using my Ninja multicooker since it takes less time. I set mine to 400 degrees on the roast bake option and set it for 10 minutes. If using an oven, also set it to 400 degrees, place the squash on a prepared baking sheet, and set the timer for 13 to 15 minutes. I would highly recommend keeping an eye on that though to make sure it doesn't burn. In a shallow dish, crack an egg or 2 eggs into it and then whisk. Remember, I made this as 1.5 portions, so I only used 1 egg. I added about a 1/4 cup of milk, maybe a third. Like I said, I eyeballed it, but don't worry, you can fix the ratios as you go along. I also added 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Next was about 1.5 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, and then 2 heaping tablespoons of pumpkin. Don't forget to add the vanilla extract like I almost did. I used about a capful of it. Then thoroughly whisk everything together. Alright, now start dipping. For the brioche, I wouldn't let this soak too long like I accidentally did. I'm used to using soda bread, which can soak forever. Also, before anyone says it, I know I use my hands to flip the bread. If I was making this for anyone else besides myself and my husband, I would have used a spatula or tongs to flip the bread instead. Now, you're going to place the soaked bread in a large heated skillet that's either been sprayed with cooking spray or melted butter. I use pan spray and medium heat. You'll want to hear the sizzle as you drop the pieces in, but you also don't want it so high that you burn it. Flip it after a few minutes. You'll want it to be a muted orange and golden brown color because pumpkin, right? After that, it's time for assembly. I placed the squash on top of the French toast, then added the granola. If you have pecans, that would be great too. You could top it with syrup, powdered sugar, butter, whatever you like. I just went with a drizzle of syrup. Pair that with a cup of coffee and enjoy. Personally, this breakfast gives me full autumn vibes and is an indulgent part of any morning, which is why I think it's perfect and easy to start your Thanksgiving festivities. Not to mention, you likely have most of these ingredients already ready to go for your Thanksgiving meal. Now for the Thanksgiving centerpiece. Rose Forever was kind enough to send me this box filled with 16 roses. What's amazing about them is that they're preserved with natural oil, so they last for a year, hence the name Rose Forever. All the materials in the boxes they come in are vegan, including the suede and velvet. Now, I got black roses, which shouldn't be a surprise if you've been here for a while, but if black isn't your thing, they have several different colors you can choose from. Red, pink, violet, blue, take your pick. The roses are pigmented in a way so that not only are they vibrant, but they're also allergen-free. I went simple with this design because, let's face it, Your dining table will at some point be covered in food, so the less real estate that's taken up, the better. I placed the Rose Forever roses in the center and then circled it with a garland of autumn leaves. Honestly, I really liked the contrast between the bright leaves and the dark roses. Also, they give Halloween colors, but hey, we're not counting here, right? Then I added some pumpkins. These are some oversized pie pumpkins that I'll break down at some point for pumpkin soup. So they're not just decor, they're also food for me too. Then I added some black pumpkins that have cutouts in them, which I think give a little bit of texture and dimension. And there you go. Simple, yet festively effective. Rose Forever has their Black Friday sale going on right now. They also gave me a coupon to share with all of you. So if you use NYX25 at checkout, you'll get $25 off your purchase. I'll have the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. If you try the recipe, let me know what you think. And also, if you celebrate, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Remember to go after whatever your dark heart desires, and I'll see you in the next one.